Yeah. Hi everyone again, my name's Donna. I'm from Quast. Today we're talking about Canva and how to use that as part of a marketing, that's a marking, better even correct my own marketing and promotion of the tuck shop. So a tool to help you be able to do up your menus, do your recipe cards, do any posters that you'd like to create, and to make it really quite professional in terms of the way that it looks and feels. And it's a really simple tool to use. So even if you don't, so there's two options that you can do for Canva. You've got the pro option and the free option. And the reason I like Canva is you can do a lot of stuff for free without having to sign up, which I love. But before we get into it, I would like to do an acknowledgement of country. So Quast acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands from across Queensland. We pay our respects to the elders, past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples across the state. My name is Donna. I believe I've met most of you, maybe Raquel. I don't know if you and I have been formally introduced, but it's lovely to have you online today.
Hi, we met at one of the other, not in person, just on Zoom.
On Zoom. Well, it was lovely to see you again then. I'm so sorry. It's a different
Right.
Zoom. But welcome. I'm glad you could make it again.
Thanks.
I was just saying before, and Rhonda for you as well, if you do have anything that you would specifically like to know about Canva today, please do pop it in the chat. Because there's a small number of us today, if you get towards the end and we haven't quite figured it out or we haven't answered your questions, maybe we could do an actual case study or something that's quite realistic for you guys, or more relative to what you're trying to work through. But hopefully today what we do will cover off most of it. So before we get into that, in terms of what's happening at Quast, obviously we've newsletters are always going out. Our Term 4 Healthier Tuck Shop newsletter has been out a couple of weeks ago. Talking Tuck Shops is coming out this week or next week. So we're finalising content for that. So please do keep an eye out for that. We do have the Healthier Tuck Shops webpage for more resources. So if you're ever looking for a recipe or a fact sheet or a resource that we talk about in these network meetings, chances are they'll be online and you'll be able to access them there. In terms of upcoming network meetings, with the final statewide network meeting for this year is Theme Days on week 8, and that's going to be a bit of fun. So that's going to be a Christmas themed, and so I'm going to actually be wearing a little Santa's hat just to get everybody into the mood for end of year. I know it's only week 8 and it's probably still going to be in November, but I think it's a good idea just to get into the spirit early. We also have some regional meetings coming up. This week I'll be at the Gold Coast at Southport State School Tuck Shop between 3 and 4 on the Wednesday. Well, this didn't update. I'm so sorry. But in week 8, we'll be up at Dolby South State School from 3 to 4 p.m. as well. That's the second time I've updated this slide and they haven't come through. Anyway, so what is Canva? So using Canva. So I guess the big thing is it's an online design tool. So has everybody used Canva before?
Never.
Never? Marianne, Alicia, or Rhonda, have you guys used Canva before? If you let me know in the chat, that'd be amazing.
Sorry, I've tried a couple of times, but I've made a mess of it each time.
Okay, that's all right, Rhonda. It's a great design tool, but I know what you mean. I've messed it up a few times myself. So I always have I have a couple of hints and tips as we go throughout today to try and reduce the opportunities for messing up a design. I like to keep it as simple as possible when I do Canva stuff, particularly because the more complicated you make it, the more time it takes to make. In terms of logging into Canva, so you can't really see that on the screen, but it does say www.canva.com. That is the website to go to. So you can do that now or you can do that a bit later, but basically you could get to choose whatever login you prefer. So most of the logins I use will be through email so I have a couple of accounts. So I have my work account and then I have a personal account, and I've created this actual account that we'll be using today just for this training purposes. So where I've been working on a couple of templates just to walk you through. And what I'll do at the end of the day is I'll actually share this with you guys so that you can actually access it in Canva, so you can get online and have a play around with it and stuff as well. So when you do get into Canva, I guess the big thing is, and this is what it looks like when you log in. So actually, I might just make that a bit bigger for you, but I'll just swap the views. That I think it is going to be better if I do this for a bit. So essentially, this is what it'll look like. So when you do log into Canva, the best thing is to just orientate yourself to the page. So it's very pretty, but it's a little bit overwhelming when you first go in. So what I like to do is always create the design, particularly in the size that you want it to be in when you print it. That's probably going to be the biggest tip here. So when you are creating a design, making sure that it's in the format that you want. So for example, if you want it to be in an A4 document, make sure you put A4 document. So a good one is if we're creating a menu, that's what I would recommend. So what you would do is you would go in and you would select. So if you go to this bit here, the create a design. Here we go, you can should see it there. So create a design button on the top right-hand corner. That's where when you click on that, and we'll all go through this in a minute. So I'm going to show the theory first, and then we'll go in and we'll actually use Canva so you can actually get a look at it firsthand. So when you're creating a menu, I think A4 is a great size to start with. You can always copy and paste that to make it larger or smaller if you want it into A5 or A3. But quite often what you can do, I find if you make it in A4, when you go to download it as a PDF, then as a PDF, you can then increase the size to A3 or reduce it to an A5 if you wanted to print it that way. So I find Portrait A4 is a nice sort of document to start with from a size point of view. Now, if you don't use the Pro, so Canva Pro allows you to resize documents within the document itself. But if you just use the free account, you'll have to create a copy to then resize it. So it gets a little bit complicated like that. So that's why I always recommend starting off with A4 and just going from there. And social media posts, if you're doing social media posts, you can actually choose Facebook, landscape, social media tile, like it gives you all of the different sizes. So we can go through that. But when you're creating a menu, which is the one that we'll go through from an example, see here, it says document A4 portrait. And so then you've got all the other ones. So that's the one that I would always select as a starter for a menu. And then you've got two options. So you can create your own menu, or you can use one of the existing templates. And this is where Canva is excellent in that it has all these existing templates that you can sort of play around with. And so what we're going to do in a moment is once I go through the next couple of slides, we'll actually get on Canva, and that's where we're going to spend most of our time going through actually developing up a menu today. I'll show you some examples of what I've created, and I've only just started today on these because I wanted to be quite true to making sure that it was quick and easy to use. I haven't labored on these for hours at a time. So I guess when you are creating a menu and you're creating your own, the best thing to do is, let me just see if I can find it. So when you go into a new document, it'll start with a page. It'll just come up as a blank page. And then what you can see here is you've got a side menu. So on that side menu, you'll have a couple of options. So I know it's a bit small, but essentially what you're looking for is the big T for the text box. So I always like to put the text in first and then worry about the design and the prettiness of it later. And so the good thing with this is you can just add a heading. You can make it a big heading or a small heading, and then you can start formatting it straight away. They've also got these really cool things where here you've actually got sort of designed headings that you could use. So you can go through there, and it's really easy to go in and change the text. So if you like this coming soon, like you like the boldness of that, you can change that to Tuckshop menu, or you can say summer menu. But if you like it in that yellow and the bold, you can just use that, or you can do a neon. Loads of options in how you want to make that look. I guess the big thing is if you're using an existing design, what you would do is rather than so you still go to A4, but rather than using the text, which is the third one down, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using the design, which is the top one. And so on this top one, what you'll do is you just start typing for templates. So these are things that I did, like cafe menu was one that I started with. Then I sort of went, oh no, I think you know, I want it to look yellow or I want it to look blue. So then I just started like all these different searches, and I just had a really good look about what was available. And that's what I did there. So, and I'll show you sort of what I found at the end of that. And it gives you so many options. Like you can scroll down in Canva probably for about 3 minutes, still going, trying to find all these templates. So there's so many options. So if you want something that's seasidey, or if you want something that's a bit more country focused, or it's mountains, or you want water, like you can use all of those key terms in this little search box here, there. And it'll help you to sort of, it'll narrow your search down because there are so many options in there. So this is just a really simple one that I found. So this is a, well, the title is a white minimalist modern coffee food menu, but I just found it by going white modern food menu. They were my key search terms, and this is what it came up with. As you can see on the left here, in here, you can actually see that there's a lot of other options as well that came up. This is the one that I sort of just chose for today, and that was the existing design option. Now, once you've got an existing design, and just say you've updated all of the templates, all of the text. So this goes for when you've created your own as well. So you've created all of the text boxes and you've put in all of the text, and you want to upload your images. Because the good thing about Canva is you can upload your own images for free and import them into the document, and then you can add them to the document as big, small. You can add them as background. You can do whatever you like with it. So we'll have a lot of fun with that in a second. So you've got the option to do your own photos in the uploads section. So that's that top, that's the 5th option down, or the second one from the bottom is photos, and that's pre-existing photos that Canva have online. And that's where you get those really professional shots. If you wanted something, it doesn't have to be of people, but like, you know, we quite often use it for our presentations. So we'll go healthy food platter, and it'll come up with this an amazing photo of a healthy food platter. Or we might go hamburgers, and we'll get like 20 different pictures of different looking hamburgers. And yeah, it's fantastic, this one. It saves you a lot of time trying to worry about getting your own photos. I do recommend though, that if you are trying to promote your own food from your tuck shop, that you definitely try and upload photos of existing food items where possible, just so that it's a realistic like for like comparison. Particularly if you're doing recipe cards, that's probably really important to make sure you, where possible, using your own photos first and foremost. And so when you are adding these photos, like these are some examples. So like these are some search things that I did: Mexican food, burgers, sandwiches, lasagna, tuck shop food. And as you can see on this screen, there's just so many different options, and it just finds it all for you. And you just choose what, you know, what looks good. You could use it as a background, or you could use it as a poster. Like these are all excellent for, even for a menu. I'll show you how to import an image in a second, and then shade it out so it's transparent, so it sits in the background rather than overpowering the image. That's actually really fun to do, make it nice and bright and interesting for people to look at. So once you've actually gone into the menu and you've inputted all your text, there is on the top, in the actual design space, there is this, I guess, menu, and that's all for formatting. So this is where all the formatting stuff comes in. And there's so many things that you can do here. So one, you can change the shape. So you can change the shape of these. So this tuck shop menu, just say here, you actually, instead of that being a rectangle, you wanted that to be, I guess, an oval shape. You could, all you simply do is click on the shape, and then you click on this button over here, the shape, add change shape, and it'll change that shape for you. And you can, then your removal of the background. So if you've got a picture, but you only want a picture of the apple, but not all the background, it'll actually remove the background and just keep a picture of the apple. So I'll play around with that too, so you can see that. It's really cool. I like that one for, I was doing something personal recently, and that was actually really fun to remove the backgrounds. And it really, because we were doing like these family photo things, and it was actually really helpful to get rid of the background and just keep the faces. It was very, very cool. This is obviously in the middle section here, you've got all the formatting. So all the things that you would see in Word, like changing the font color, changing the font, changing the size, changing it, whether it's capitalized or whether it's lowercase. You can also then justify it. You can put dot points in. You can increase the space or reduce the space between the texting. The animation one is if you're doing something on social media, you can actually animate the text so that it'll move on the page, like it'll swipe in or swipe out or like sparkle up or it'll disappear. So it can do lots of cool things to make it interactive. And it's all sort of preset, so it's really quick to change it. It doesn't take long. Positioning is all about formatting. So with this menu here, you can see that all of the food menu items, they're all justified to the left, but they're all in the same straight line. And I'll show you how you can go about doing that in Canva to make it really quick using that position button. And then that transparency button is what we spoke about before. And that just means that you can make whatever the image is or the text or the box or whatever it is, you can make it transparent so it becomes see-through, so it can actually sit as a background. Positioning is also good from a layering point of view. So if you put a picture on or insert a picture into the menu and you want it to sit as the background, not in the front, so not in front of the text, you can actually change the position of it so it'll actually go behind, and it'll be really good that way. So, oh no, someone just dropped out. Who was that? Oh, hopefully they log back in. They all sometimes. Okay, that'll be all right. Hopefully they'll log back in. Okay, so why don't we go into Canva now? So I'm just going to get out of this. I'm going to stop sharing for a sec and we'll get into Canva. Oh, there she comes back in from. There she is. Okay, I'm going to. Oh, no, that's going to. Here we go. Hi, Rhonda. Good to see you again. I saw you drop out before, you poor thing. It's all right. You haven't missed much at all. So I'm just restarting to share the screen for Canva now. So this is on the assumption that we've all sort of logged in. So we're going to do that. So let me just make sure that you can see what I'm seeing. Yeah. Okay, so this is Canva. So what I'm going to do though is before we go into this document, we're going to go to the home screen. So this is logging into Canva. This is what you'll see. So this is under my account. So this is where you can go to create a design and just click on that and you can choose the option you want. So worksheet, document. I haven't used document responsive. That's if you're actually writing up a report, you can actually do that in here. But if you're just doing a poster or something, go with a document A4 portrait to start with. And then it'll just load up like this. And that'll be the basics of what you're going to do. So, but we're not going to do that because I've already done a template for you, but that's how you can start. So as you can see here on the design, because I've been searching for menus, it's already anticipated that I might be looking for a menu design. So it's actually on the side here, it's already chosen just by default the menu options or some background options that I was looking for earlier today. So if you ever want to go into, so you can create several different designs at a time. And if you're ever looking for them, it's a really good idea to go into so what you can do is you can go into recent designs down the bottom here, or what you can do is you can go into projects and it'll just show up everything that you've ever made. So these are the things that we've been working on. I often quite like to make so here on the right-hand side, you see an add new. So I like to do folders. So it's kind of like in Word when you're saving documents. It's the same principles here. I like to do a folder and then I'll label it menus or I'll label it menu cards. Because I do a lot of social media posts, I've got one for social media. So I do that as well. And then I find it makes it a lot easier to find them. So when you have a folder, actually we'll set one up so you can see it. Name the folder. So we'll go menu examples. If I can type properly, there you go. And then if you want to share it with anyone, so this is when you're like, if you're working on this and you want the P&C to review it, or you've got someone in the school to review it, all you need to do is just type in their email address. And so like I could type in my admin at cost, and that'll show up, and then that will share to that email address. So that's a really easy way for when you are creating something and you need to share it. I'll show you how to do that after the fact as well, but this is when you're setting it up. It's also a good idea. Okay, so it's created the folder, but obviously there's nothing in here. So when I go back to projects, what you'll see is, see how I've got a folder here with menu examples. But what you can see is there's a couple of menu items that I've been doing. So I can quite easily just drag them into menu examples. And then you can see that it's actually been moved and it's now updated into that folder. So if I want to find those designs moving forward, I just need to put them in there. There's another one. And then you can click into it and then you can see all your projects that you've worked on. So if you do a lot of designing really quickly and you create the folder, it's really easy to move it in afterwards. But let's get to the good stuff because I'm pretty sure that's all boring stuff. Now I've shared this with myself. So I developed this on the Quast team page. So I've just shared that. So if that ever happens and someone shares a file with you, you just have to always click edit and then away you go. So I've got some little tips here so that when you do go to create your own, or if you're using an existing template, there's just some easy tips to remember. So let's talk about creating your own first. So here I want to talk about the zoom. So the zoom is really important so you can get really right up close. So that's like 300%, or you can get down to 100 or 90. So that's where you can see what it'll look like from a distance. So if you're creating your own, the easiest thing, remember we were talking about inserting text. So what you do is you come over here, and if I'm going too fast, please stop me. I always like to start with inserting the text first and worrying about the design element later. And I'll show you why in a second and why I do that. So for example, creating my own. So I'm going to do this one and I'm just going to insert this. So, okay, so that's a pro one. So that's a good example of, you see where you've got these little crowns. So that means you can only access that if you actually pay for the pro Canva. So I'll just choose one that doesn't have the crown on it, and then I can insert that. And so I can now change that to Tuckshop menu. And it's just like writing in Word. It's as simple as that. You just highlight the text you don't want. Now I can reduce that text. So that's quite a large font size. So that's 170. So I'm just going to press up here. You remember how I showed you there was that menu where you can adjust the text. So I'm actually going to speed that up and just click into it and then type 50. And then all you do when you want to move a shape in Canva, it's a bit different to PowerPoint. You just literally grab it. You don't have to click on it first. You just grab it and then go. All right, so I've got the Tuckshop menu. I'm going to delete that one because we don't need that anymore. Grab it and go. And it helps you align it. See those pink lines on the page? That helps you justify it so that it's in the center already. Now, in terms of adding a text, let's go up to the top. So let's just do this, say, what's a good, we'll go sandwiches, right? So, and don't worry about the text. We can fix all this up in a second. So it's like headings, we want sandwiches. So again, that's way too big. So we're going to reduce that down to 20 and see if we like that size. And that's probably good because we're going to have to fit a lot on this menu. So it's making it big enough so that people can see it, but small enough that it could actually fit. And then I want something a bit smaller underneath. So that's a size 20. That's a size 32. So I'm going to go to a size 16. So the text is a bit smaller than the heading text. That's a good point to keep in mind, that you want the heading to stand out and then you want the text underneath it to be of a smaller size, just so that people, when they look at the menu, they can see they're drawn to the headings, not the text to start with. So, and then it's as easy as when you're creating text in here, you just type it into the box straight away. So double click it and you just write ham and cheese. And I can't type. There we go. So that's ham and cheese. And then if you want to recreate that, you just see this little duplicate thing. So I've just clicked on the text box and see here, it's got like a duplicate. So I'm just going to click that again. And then you see this little arrow thing here. You just move that. And then it helps you kind of align it to keep it nice and flush. So maybe I want this to be chicken and cheese. So I didn't have to delete all the text in there. I could have double clicked on that. So I'm going to duplicate that again. I'm going to move that down and see how it's trying to keep the distance the same. So it's trying to help me by keeping everything formatting as I go. And the reason why I'm creating individual text boxes and not creating it all in one text box is because it's a bit different to PowerPoint in that by having individual text boxes that it gives you more functionality around the formatting of it. So what's a ham, tomato, and I'll show you why in a sec, and cheese. Okay. So, all right. So I've got that, but the problem I've got here is that they're all out of shape, right? They're not, or not all out of shape. They're not in line. So what I want to do when you're doing this is, again, different to PowerPoint. Here, you literally just click down below the text and then scroll up to collect it. So you're just collecting them all, and you can see that because they all got highlighted. And then I go up to this position. And what I do, I click on that, and then I choose, I want them to be left aligned like this. So then they're all moved to the left. That was really quick. But then I want them to be in a dot point. So I really want them to have a dot point next to each other like that. So, and then what I do is, and what I forgot was to move the heading as well. So again, I grab the heading by just literally like you just hold the mouse and draw over the spaces that you want and left. And that's sort of how you start. And it's really simple. And then to put prices in, all you need to do is get a new text box, add it, just add one here. And you can just go $4.50 for a sandwich. And then if the sandwiches are all the same price, then you only have to put it in once. And that. And then just say you're going through that and you're like, oh, I've made this way too big. This font is way too big. I can't fit enough for a second column or a third column. All you have to do is just highlight the areas and then see up here, you can just go into the text box and you can actually just reduce it down by pressing the minus. So it does it all at once for you. And then what you can do is you go back to position and you can left line them again. Obviously, I've made the mistake with the price, so I just move that over. But it's really easy. So really easy to format if you need to adjust the size, the font size, all the rest of it. So I guess the big thing is this is one that I started off when I was designing it on my own. And I just did this really quickly this morning. So Tuckshop menu, I did sandwiches, snacks, salads, drinks. And so what I did is I created this shape. It came out of, I guess, just a text box. And I went up to here. So you could do it up here. Where's here, I'll show you. So I inserted so what I did is I did a shape like this. And then I did like sandwiches because I wanted it to be like this. And then I was like, oh, I don't really like that shape. So I'm going to change the shape. And then you've got all these options. So if you want to do sandwiches in like that, you can change it really quickly. Or if you want it like that or whatever you want, like that. And so that's what I did here. So I just chose that and then I got these shapes and then I went down and then I just basically had a menu that I've been working on and I'll increase the size so you can see that. And then I did that and I just added in all the sandwich types, the snacks, the drinks, the poke bowls, the main meals. And this is very, very rough. And I would say I would probably go back and fix this up a fair bit, but I just wanted to show you that this did not take me that long. And then what I did is from the original one, and I'll show you here, I'll show you what I mean by the shape. So that was the shape that I chose. I've decided I don't like that shape anymore. So I'm just going to take it back like this. And it's as easy as that, changing it back and see how when I'm pulling up the shapes, and I know this is a really quick tutorial and I'm really sorry, I'd love to go a bit slower and I'm more than happy to after this. If you've got something that you've started working on and the design's a bit clunky, just let me know and I'm more than happy to help you to fix it up a bit. But just going back there, doing that, specials. I might keep that as a square actually, I think. Yeah, so I kind of like that now. That's not too bad. This is another one. So I kind of use the same sort of formatting once I'd done so I guess the big thing I should probably show you before I forget is I'm not retyping this every single time. So what I did with this one is there's this duplicate page. So remember how I said you could duplicate the text? You can also just duplicate the page. So if you start typing in it and you're like, oh, I don't like that design, but I want to do another design, but I don't want to delete this design, I say just go your hardest and create as many duplicates as possible. So I always start with a really blank page. So basically I just write all the text without any color, and then I start duplicating. And the thing that I forgot to do today was save the original. So I apologize for that, but that's how easy it is. But it's, you just duplicate it like that. And now I've got 2 of the same. So as you can see, I've got 2 copies of the same thing. So then I can go about, that's say the original. And now maybe I want to just grab this text here and I want to change the color of that so that it's all green, or that aqua color over here. And see how I'm not even bothering to capture the whole text box. I'm just running it through like that, because you don't need to, what's that doing? That's because I've grabbed the shape. So I just want the text boxes. Then you go to the color, choose, and you get so many different colors that you want. Canva is really good that if you do have an image on the page, it'll try and match the text color to the image, and I'll show you in a sec. So there you go. I've been able to adjust the colors of that. This is another one that I did really quickly. I just created a duplicate of the one before and I changed the font. And then I just found, and I'll show you in a sec, this template with little rainbows on it. And I really like that. So I just created that. So this is when you come into, so even though I've created the template, so this is different in that I didn't use a template for the layout. I created the layout myself and then I imposed it with, I guess, a background. So I'll show you something here. So with the design, so now that I've got this one, just say I really like, I'm scrolling through here. So now we're looking at, I've put all of my menu in, and I'm trying to find a nice background. So I might just, I'll delete that and I'll delete that and I'll delete that. So it's really easy to delete once you've implemented it or inserted it. And so now what I want to do, let me just have a look. Let's have a look down here. And I haven't even typed anything in, but it's just like food. Let's go children, meals, see what comes up. I can do borders. So that rainbow one came up again. So there's so this is not really what I'm looking for, but what I do like, I actually really like this. Actually, there you go. I kind of like that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new page. So I say always add a new page if you're inputting the design, and I'll show you why in a second. So that says Happy Thanksgiving, but it's okay. We can change that. So it hasn't deleted the design that I was working on. I've added it just to the below. But what I'm going to do is, I don't really want it to say Happy Thanksgiving. And I got it for so see how I can move all the text around? So I don't really like that faded out look. And then what I don't like, and then I'm going to get rid of that. You can keep all of that. I just decided to get rid of it. And see how there's other options here. So there's a green one or there's a blue background. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to reduce the size of the page down enough. And then I'm just going to drag the mouse over all the text and I'm going to go copy. So that's so you can use the Control C or you can use any of the shortcuts, and then Control V. Oh, that's not going to work. That was a message to Marianne. Let's try that again. Here we go. That's because I forgot to actually cut it before. And then it's cut and pasted it absolutely as it was in the previous one, but just with the background that I wanted. And I just want to show you what happens. So see this one, I'll say, oh, I really like that blue background now. So if I replace current page, it'll actually save over the work that I've just done. So that's why it's always really important that if you are going to create a background, I always like to do it last once I'm happy with the formatting of the text. And then it's much easier than just to cut and paste it over the top once it's done. So the other thing here, I just wanted to go back, is if you're doing a menu, like just say I'm looking here and I don't like how they're all justified to the left is how they call that. So I'm going to go position and I'm going to go, I want them all to sit in the middle underneath the title of the salad or the heading. So I'm going to go over here to center. So I'm going to do that. Now, the issue that I've got here is that see how some of the text isn't sitting right in the center? And that's because, oh, I didn't mean to click out of that. You've got to go up here to this. See this bit? It's like in Word when you want things to hang to the left or you want it to be in the middle. And this one just sort of scrolls through it. So you just keep going until you get the alignment that you want. So I sort of want it to sit in the middle. So I've changed that. And I'm happy with that. So I'll keep that there. And then I'm going to zoom back out so I can see the whole menu to see what it looks like. So that's when you're doing a menu from scratch. If you're going to use a template, these are the templates that I've sort of had a look at. And then you go off what I've sort of was talking to you about earlier. You just search and it's just, and you search in the design element of it. And you just go, why are you doing that? Here we go. You go back out and you just go menu, just type in menu. And it just comes up with so many different formats. So these are really great. If you're doing like a daily special, I find these are great for like just daily special options where you don't have a lot of words, but you've got like a really good, like say it's a pizza day, for example. I just saw this one here. So that's a really good one. So that's a, you'd have to, you can create that one on your own, but if you want to use that template, then you'll have to do the pro. But this one here, for example, taste the best from the oven. Like that's a really cool poster. And I did that mistake of not actually. So if you ever make a mistake in Canva, see this little back arrow? You just undo and it deletes it for you. So the good thing about a template is you just have to just click on it and then you type in the words. So you just go lasagna. And I always, because I'm a bit blind, I always zoom in. I don't know if anyone else needs to do that, but I certainly do. So hot food, lasagna, and then I can just change the price, $4.50. And if you ever get like that where the text goes over, you just increase the text box size. What's something else? And you can put like meat with, where are we? Meat, lasagna. Or you could say spinach lasagna, whatever you wanted to do. And you just type it in and it's really quite easy that way. I'm just going to zoom out again and you just keep filling it up. So this is one. Oh, Megan, here comes Megan. Here's another template, which is actually really similar to the one that I created. If you go and have a look at that, like I created this one. And then when I went and found a template, this one was actually really close to it. And I was like, oh, I probably could have saved myself a whole lot of time. But what I found annoying with this is, and I'll show you why I like to do the design at the end, is so this is the template as it came through. So it's got all these things that I don't really need. It's also got these images. So if I want to try and just highlight these text boxes so I can align them or move them, it'll pick up the image. And that's really annoying because that's the one thing about Canva is if you've got design on the page, they get picked up in all this. So you either try and do the text boxes without grabbing the design, and that's why I format everything first and then put the design in. Because I'll show you what happened. Like just say this was across the whole page like this. And it just gets really like clunky in terms of moving things around. So now that that's sitting across the whole page, even though the position of that is, where is that? So we need that to be right at the back. But when I go to grab the text, it'll pick up that box all the time. So that's why I don't like having pictures in there to start with. I like to do the design, the pretty stuff last and do the text stuff first. So anyway, so this is the template that I started with. And here we go. And then I just played around with some backgrounds. So I did what I showed you before where I created a new page and then I just cut and pasted. So I went up and I just cut and pasted the menu. So this is from my original menu. So I like the design of it. And then I just cut and pasted my original menu at the top. But you can just use this menu, type it all in. And then if you don't like the background, like this one. So just say you've gone and inputted all of this. and you love the design, but you just don't like the background, what you do is you can delete that. See, there's actually 2 layers of background there. So what you do then is you come over here to design, get out of that bit, and you can choose, let's do I want some photos. Where are our photos? Here we go. Sometimes you just have to go into apps to find the extra bits. So I want a photo of, let's say, lasagna for whatever reason. I'm thinking about lasagna today because it's rainy here in Brisbane. And I've just inputted that. And then I want that to be like big picture. So I'm going to input the picture. But I'm like, well, now I can't read the menu because the picture is like sitting in front of it. So what I need to do is go into the transparency bit and then just reduce it so that it comes down to almost like a shadow of its former self. But hey, now I can read the menu. So that's a really good way of, like, when you're implementing a picture, all you got to do is move the picture to where you want it to be. And then you go up to transparency and you just scroll it down till you're happy with it, until you feel like the text can be seen. And then if you do that and you're still not happy with it, all you need to do is go to elements and you can do a square like this. So go to elements and it'll come up as a shape. So because I've recently used it, it's just come up straight away. And then I can do a text box. And then what I can do is position that so that it goes backward so that the text box, oh, actually, we'll bring that to the front. See, that's actually sitting over the text. So it's on top, but I want it to actually sit behind the text. So now I've just got to go through all this again until all the text is sitting on top. There you go. And then what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to make that transparent. So then it comes down to there. So then it sort of highlights the food, highlights the menu. And then I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, those pictures are rubbish. They make it look too busy. I'm just going to delete it. And then I'm going to delete that picture. And then I'm like, that's much better. I really like it. And it's as simple as that, really, when you're designing. So this is one that I did this morning, this little tuck shop. And then all I did was I found another background. And so it's exactly the same menu, but I've just changed the pictures on the background. If you're doing a menu card, so they actually have these really cool templates for menu cards. So again, it's just a picture. So you would just go into your uploads and upload your picture. And then they've just used a simple text box, and I'll zoom in so you can see it better. So it's pancakes. They've just put one simple text box for all the ingredients, and then the instructions are really simple like this. And so if you've got them in Word, this is a really good example of where if you've already written this out in Word, you can literally just cut and paste the text across into Canva and it'll convert it into one big text box like this. And you can do that. And then that's really easy. So it's a really easy way of something that's already written up in Word. You just cut and paste the text into here. And is good. So here's the recipe card that I started. So this is something that I started earlier today. So I literally had this in Word and I just copied it across like this. So this is for, what did I even write it down? This was for the chicken. It'll be a chicken dish. I can't even remember what it is now. Let's go chicken and rice. But it's a chicken and rice dish. There's chicken and rice there. So that's just a heading I've chosen, but I don't like that heading. So I'm going to change the font. So this is something I didn't talk to you about before, but the fonts are endless here. The ones that have got the little yellow circles are the pro options, but as you can see, there's so many other options available to you. So let's try this Proxima Nova. No, it's still too big, and I don't like it in capitals, so I'm just going to change it. So some text will only allow you to there you go, that's not too bad, but still too big. So I'm going to reduce the size. Just going to go up here to the text box and just reduce the size. Or if I want to speed it up, I just type it in, chicken and rice. Now, I don't have a picture of chicken and rice, And I've only got so I didn't even get to this is just the ingredients. So I didn't even get to the method bit, but what I'm going to do is add the method in later, but I really want to upload a picture. But I don't have a picture of my own. So I'm going to go into, so apps if you can't find it, and photos there. And then I'm going to go chicken and rice. Now, obviously, this is not going to be the image because it's a Tuckshop photo, but there's another one there, a bit more Indian. There's another chicken and rice. That's not bad from a poke bowl. That almost looks like a poke bowl. So if you want an upload, so this is where if you've got your own photos, you just upload them into here. So you go into upload files and you can pick and choose where you want the files to come from. So this is just some of the work that I've been working on. So if I had a photo in there, I would simply upload it and then it would come in here. It's working on some recycling stuff. So there you go. And that's how easy it is just to upload and insert. And then you just get to resize the picture and move it around to however you want. And then if you want to continue going with, to type in the instructions on how to make it, so the preparation methods, you can just create a new text box. So you go back over to text and you add a text box. Now it's picked up the last formatting that I did. So I'm going to show you what you do to change that. So preparation method. So I want it to look like this sort of text. So what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to click in the text here, and then I'm go up to copy style, and then I'm going to click here. And as you can see, now it's copied the style, but obviously not the size. So I need to reduce that down to this size. So I actually don't know what size that is. 10, no, too big. 6, let's go for a 6. Yep, looks like it's 6. So put that, so that's a 12. So we'll just reduce it to 6 and then easy done. And then you just create another text box. And if you've already written it up in Word, you just cut and paste it. It's really, really quick for a method, for a recipe card. And then as you can see, and then your recipe card's done. And the thing is, with recipe cards, it's nice to have a template. So if you've got it all set up in the same text, then it's really easy just to replicate it really, really quickly, because then you just duplicate and duplicate and duplicate and duplicate. So then you can just change. All you have to do is change the title, redo the ingredients, but it's all in the same font and text and formatting. And if you've got a background as well, that's where it really comes into its own. So just say you've got a background as a new page. All you've got to do is if you create this template as your recipe card template. Oh, I forgot to cut and paste that. You just cut and then you can adjust it as required. Or if that background is too vibrant, what you do is you just make it transparent. And then all I do is then I would grab these guys and make them 100% and do the same for the chicken. That's why I see how it's always easier to have it finalized first before you put the design in. So then you've got that. And they're bright because I didn't grab them before. But if I did that now and reduce that transparency down, there you go. Now, do we have any questions? Because that's a lot in like 35, 40 minutes. Before I go any further, does anybody have any questions about something that they've been trying to work on and they're having troubles with? Did any of this make sense? Is this was this too fast? Do you want me to go slower? This is the first time we've run something like this, so I wasn't sure how much or how little to share. But it is just fun to go in and have a play with Canva. It's probably my big takeaway. There's loads of things to do. If you want to create see how they're all the copies that I just made, like really, really quickly. So posters, I think, so Christmas, for example, you go into elements, and it'll find your pictures, it'll find photos really quickly. You know, you could send out happy holiday messages if you want to do social media. Yeah, really easy to do with posters and everything. So it's just a matter of identifying what you want. Something that's really cool is down here where you've got frames. So a frame, and then what you do is you, let me just move that away. But you can actually input a picture into the frame. So it'll actually, I'll delete the rest of it. As you can see, like the picture that I inputted in or dragged in became the image. So I can do a different one like this and just drag it in, and it makes it the picture. So that's pretty cool if you want to do stuff like that, if you're playing around. So I think if we go up to the menus, which I think is generally what everyone's probably going to be using it for, I guess the big thing is making sure that you've got all the text in first and then worry about the design. So making sure, so whether you use whether you use a one that you've found yourself or whether you've created your own, making sure you've got all the information in there first, and then you can worry about designing it and making it look pretty. That's probably the biggest tip I could make. I did want to show you some examples of what we've done in Canva. So I'm just going to go out of there. So the other thing with Canva as well is like whenever you open up a project, it'll open up a new tab on the internet. So if you have like 20 projects open, they'll all be on different tabs at the top of your screen. But you can always go back to home. You can either do that by going back to the home tab or just clicking on the home on the screen that you're working on, and it'll save automatically. That's the big thing with Canva is you don't have to continually save. It's always saving. So I didn't save anything when we were doing that, but if I was to go back into this template now, you can see that all those changes that we made then will be here. So things like that's there, fixing up those text boxes. So that's all just been automatically saved by being online, and it does it pretty much as soon as you make the change, it'll do it. You can also have a couple of people working on the document at the same time if that really helps. So these are some of the things that we've produced in Canva here at Cost. So this is a flyer about our training. So that's obviously an image that we've uploaded. We've found you can use these little things. So if you've got little images that you want to use, you know, and that's just see how the individual text boxes that you've colored, and then we've just put text in there, individual text boxes, and that's really good because you can center all that sort of stuff and make it look really streamlined. Something else, here's some menus that we've done as well. Oh, here's a recipe card. This is how Chrissy, our comms manager, does our recipe cards. So she puts the image on the side and then she just puts all the ingredients and stuff on the right-hand side. This was for last year's recipe of the year. So here you can see some images as well. So some of these are professional images and some of these were images sent through from Tuckshop conveners as well. It's another good example of here we go, here's a menu. There's a good one. Here we go. So this is a template that we often use for our menus. So again, really simple background. We've just put in an image up here with fruit. I'll make it a bit bigger so you guys can actually see that. So I'm actually going to move that over because I was playing with that before. There we go. I'm going to make that bigger again. There we go. I'll fix that up a bit later. But yeah, so this is how we've sort of done it. So text box, you can insert lines. So if you want a line, you just look for line and it'll just go and it'll give you all the different lines. You can get line arrows, you can get lines that move, you've got lines that dots, you've got loads of different options. You can change the text as much as you like. So this is all something that we've made. You can, and the good thing is if you can keep adding until you've got all the text you need on the page by just saving space remember how I was showing you how you increase and reduce the size really quickly. So you just grab all the text and then you come up here and you just press the minus button. So then all of a sudden I've made the text smaller and I've got a lot more space, and then I can just move everything. So again, I just grab it and then move it all up. like that. And then what I do is I want to do that. So that's an example of where there's a background. It's annoying me. So then I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to position justified to the left. And that's all justified. And now I've got all this extra space there that I didn't have before because I made the menu smaller. So any other questions? We're sort of nearly out of time. So if there's anything else that you would like help with, happy to chat afterwards. I will send through that file that I've been working on just as an example today. I'll share that with you all. I guess probably the big thing is when you go to print before we leave, that's probably the big thing before I forget actually. When you go to print, the option is not up here in the menu, it's actually up here in the share. So you press share and then you go to download. So you can't print directly off Canva. You have to download the design and then you can print from your computer. But you go to download and then you've got several different options here. So you've got JPEG and PNG are images. So they're really good for social media or if you're inserting a menu into an e-newsletter or something. JPEG and PNG are probably your best formats for that. If you're trying to print the menu into a hard copy or you're printing a poster for you to print out, definitely use PDF standard or PDF print. They're probably the, and then if you've made an MP, like if you've made a social media tile that's got moving parts, you use the MP4 video. So for example, this one being that's the menu, we would do that PDF for print, and then I would just simply download that. Now, if I had several different pages here, because there's only one page in here, it'll just download on its own, and then it'll go to a download there. We will find this whole recording. Oh, Megan, it's online. I'll send out the link. It'll be at the end of the week where it normally is with the rest of the network meeting files online. You can go and have a look there. So why don't I go back really quickly and show you how to just download one page from a section. So this one really quickly, I know we've got to go, so I'll be really, really quick. So just say, this is probably the last thing and then I'll let you go. So what page? Okay, page number 5. So that's the page that I like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share that. I'm going to download that. Now, I need to download this to send into a newsletter. So JPEG, actually I'll go PNG. I'm going to make so the size is set. So if I had Pro, you could adjust the size, but I'm going to do PNG. Now, as you can see, I've got 21 pages. I can't show you that any bigger, but when you go to share and download, it'll try and download all of the files or all of the pages that you have in this document. So all you've got to do is, it's kind of like when you just want to print off one page, you just select the page and then you scroll down to what page you want. So ours was page 5, and then tick the box and then done, and then press download, and then it'll just download that one page. So if you download all the pages, you have the option of downloading it as a single file or individual file. So if you make up 6 different things all at once in the one file, you can download them all at once and have them as individual files. That's fine. But otherwise, if you just want to print off one page, that's how you do it as well. But yeah, so that's about it, guys. Just going to stop sharing from Canva. Do you have any questions before we go? Obviously, this will be online afterwards. So if you have got any questions after today, please do go back and have a look. Otherwise, please do give us a call if you've started with the design and you're a bit stuck and you're not sure how to fix it. More than happy to have a look at it just to help you get used to Canva, and we can sort of book a chat and just have a chat too about, the design or things that you might want to change. But yeah, so any questions before we go? No? Okay. All right. Well, look, thanks everyone for coming along. Again, if you do have any questions, my email is donna@quas.org.au. Just remember it's .org.au, not .com.au. I have had a few people trying to email me at .com and it didn't work, obviously. So it's .org.au. A reminder that in 2 weeks' time, we'll be doing a Christmas themed network meeting for a bit of fun. And if you're on the Gold Coast, I'll be at Southport State School this Wednesday at 3 p.m. And in 2 weeks' time, I'll be at Dalby South State School Tuckshop at 3 p.m. as well for the network meeting out there. Thank you everyone for joining, and great to see you all again. Again, if you've got any questions, please do drop me a line. Otherwise, have a great rest of your Monday.
Thank you, Donna. Great.
Thank you.
Was that helpful?
Very. Yeah.
Okay.
Looking forward to get started.
All right. Well, if you've got any questions, let me know.
Thank you so
Thanks, Emma.
much.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.